The latter half of 2025 looks to be a good year for fans of author Richard Bachman, also known as Stephen King, with not one but two Richard Bachman novels being adapted for the screen. So first up in September we have The Long Walk, and The Long Walk is probably one of my favourite Richard Bachman aka Stephen King novels, along with The Stand. One of the first books he ever wrote, I believe. Not necessarily one of the first published, of course. That came a lot later when there was a scramble for anything Stephen King. But yeah, one of his earliest works, and it really shows because it is the work of an angry young man, which is probably why it resonated so strongly with people of my age back when it was released and in the years after. So The Long Walk is a dark dystopian tale about America's new favourite pastime, which is the past baseball and football and so forth. So America's new favourite pastime is a sporting event called The Long Walk. So young males all over the country volunteer basically, and they're picked out of a ballot to compete in this sporting event, which is essentially very simple in nature. It basically involves starting at a certain point, in this case Maine of course being Stephen King, and basically walking until the last man is standing. So very simple premise. It's very simple premise for a novel or a movie. Very exciting premise. The novel really played out as a bit of a, not only as a dystopian novel, but also as a bit of a character study about young male anger, I guess, for want of a better word. People trying to find themselves, find who they are as people. And I think it really resonated with anyone who was a male teenager in the 80s and 90s as a novel. So I'm sure I'm probably not the only one that is a fan of this novel, The Long Walk by Richard Bachman. The trailer itself looks quite interesting and leaves me quite hopeful. It does appear to be very faithful to the source material. The cool thing about the trailer, from what I can see so far, is it has a timeless kind of a quality. Things like the costume design and so forth, that really could be happening during any time, I guess, and could be set in any era. So that's the cool thing about it. If it is a good film, it won't tend to date as quickly as a lot of things can. And the other thing about the trailer is it does sort of leave us wondering when it's set. So it could be set in the future, it could be set in an alternative 1970s, which would be interesting as well. And there's just a few little hints that may be the case, just looking at the kind of technology and things like that in the trailer. But yeah, certainly I'll be interested in seeing this one for sure. I'll be interested in seeing it theatrically, and hopefully it'll be a good companion piece to the novel by Richard Bachman, and maybe expose an entirely new generation to the novel and to the social commentary that lies within. The second one coming up in November, I'm a little less excited about after seeing the trailer. So The Running Man was another novel that Stephen King wrote under the nom de plume of Richard Bachman. I first read it as part of a collection called the Bachman Books, which also included The Long Walk, of course. It included Rage, which was a bit of a school shooter story, and now banned, I believe, and also a novelette called Roadwork, which was kind of a precursor to the Michael Douglas film Falling Down, and a really interesting read if you get a chance. But I digress. The Running Man has been adapted before, of course, and it was adapted quite successfully as an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle in 1987. And I actually like the 1987 film and the novel, which is a bit of a rarity. They both really exist in separate universes, alternate realities, but I can enjoy both for different reasons, as many of you probably can as well. Which leads me to the new trailer. So I was excited when I heard about this movie because I thought that it might be someone brave enough to do a very close adaptation to the novels. So someone who might cover all those themes like big evil insurance companies and big evil health industry and all that sort of stuff. But I was kind of, I wasn't really holding my breath. These are great themes for an independent filmmaker or for a upcoming novelist, because there's no real danger in stepping on toes like that. You can poke and point fingers at big pharmaceutical companies or private equity firms or insurance companies and all the corruption and greed and so on and so forth. But the problem is when you go to make a film adaptation of a novel that covers these sort of themes, which the original Running Man novel did very well, you're not going to see a major film studio risk stepping on the toes of their shareholders. So Paramount Studios are making this one, I believe, and they've got Edgar Wright directing. And unfortunately for we fans of the Running Man novel or the 1987 Running Man movie, at this point in time, several private equity firms, namely BlackRock and Vanguard, own about 15% combined of shares in Paramount. So they're not exactly going to make a subversive piece of social commentary about the corruptions associated with private equity firms, health insurance companies and the health industry at large, or any of the other themes basically that Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King, covered so eloquently in his novels. So I think if you're expecting some kind of awesome subversive film that's really going to capture the zeitgeist of these times and the distrust people have in these big evil multinational corporations, you're probably barking up the wrong tree by going to see this movie, and the trailer's sort of indicating as much as well. Edgar Wright's kind of probably there, and I don't blame the guy for it. Everyone needs a payday. Everyone's got bills to pay in the current financial crisis. He hasn't done anything in a while. So this film just sort of reeks as a gun for hire type situation. I don't think that there's going to be anything intelligent to say in the Running Man remake or reboot. Any worthwhile social commentary or any of the charm of the 1987 movie or any of the dark satire of the original novel, the subversiveness of the original novel. So it does all look very cookie cutter from the trailer. It looks more like a I don't know, like a Mission Impossible movie or something like that, just a generic paint by numbers action movie, and that's fine if you're looking for that sort of thing, but it'll be one of those situations, purely judging on the trailer, where, or judging by the trailer, that it'll be probably puzzling that they even bothered to make something based on this intellectual property that really doesn't have the flavour of either the original novel or even the 1987 movie, which still managed to comment on a lot of these things while, I guess, not going too heavy, remaining a fun sort of a movie. But yeah, this new adaptation really looks about as shallow as it gets, and it kind of has that same vibe as the recent RoboCop remakes, and the recent Total Recall remake, where you're taking this intellectual property and sort of filtering it to within an inch of its existence, and you end up with something largely forgettable that's going to be forgotten half an hour after you leave the theatre. So hopefully I'm wrong on that. I mean, Edgar Wright's done some interesting things before, of course, and but just the I guess just the way that the cards are all falling into place with this one, it does seem like a bit of a gun for hire sort of a movie, almost as if they've commissioned Edgar Wright to make this movie so that he can go off and make a smaller, more personal movie for his next one. That's usually how these things work. Hopefully he does bring something worthwhile to the table, but as I said, when 15% of your stakeholders are the kind of big evil multinationals that you're allegedly satirising in your film, then you're not going to see anything that hits too close to the bone. So we shall see. So I'll post links to both of the trailers for The Long Walk and The Running Man in the description below. And I'd be really curious if you've seen either of the trailers or heard anything about these films, perhaps heard anything hopeful about them. We always do hope that these things will be good, even though we get burned many times. So yeah, if you have any thoughts on those, by all means, let me know in the comments. Let all of us know in the comments. And if you are enjoying this content, by all means, please like, share and subscribe. Otherwise, till next time, see ya.